which is on the south shore of Mono Lake. And what you're looking at is what the mill looked like. At MONO Mills. This is what it looked like. Probably about 1882, somewhere around there. And this is what it looks like today. Now granted, the picture is looking south, we're looking north, but it still gives you a pretty good idea. You can see some of the skids that they used. You can kind of see the skids that they used to slide the finished lumber down to the railroad. The railroad ran down through this ravine right here. And so the first floor of the mill was level with the top of the ravines, which worked out really good. They bring in the lumber from the forest north of or south of here, which was it's a pretty good sized forest. I mean, this thing goes and goes and goes, so there was plenty of lumber, plenty of trees, and then they would cut the wood. Slide it down these skids and load it onto the trains, and the trains would take it to Bodie, 32 miles from here. It was a 3-foot gauge, narrow gauge railroad. And there's a foundation right here. I'm not sure what that is or what it was for, but they say there was a turntable, an Armstrong turntable, because you had to have strong arms to turn the locomotive on the turntable, just north of the mill, near the engine house, or just south, I'm sorry, just south of the mill. So I'm guessing it was in somewhere in this area right here. But if you take this road, which is right over here to our left, to the left of the screen, and that road goes along, in fact, you can probably see it right there. That road goes along the old right-of-way. Originally, the railroad was called the Bodie and I think the Bodie and Lumber Company, or at any rate, the road goes along the old right-of-way. And to this day, you can drive that road. I wouldn't do it without a four-wheel drive. It gets pretty sandy and whatnot. But and in some areas, you can still see ties left over from the railroad. So it's kind of interesting, you know. I would love to be able to do that someday. Come back here with a four-wheel drive and drive along. It's 32 miles from here to Bodie, so it rides along the old right-of-way. I don't know if you can take it all the way up to Bodie, if that road traverses the old right-of-way all the way up to Bodie, but it would give you a pretty good idea. Imagine what it must have been like along the south shore, I'm sorry, the east shore of Mono Lake on a cold, wet, wintry day, or night even. And there's a book out about the railroad, and they had plans. They had actually surveyed and started to build a right-of-way down to Benton, which would hook up with the Carson Colorado Railroad. But it didn't get very far. The mines played out in Bodie and several of the other towns. And the railroad was abandoned, or the mill, actually, the mill was abandoned in 1917. And I'm sure the railroad was not long after that would be abandoned too as well. But there's a lot of history here, a lot of history. I'll come over here real quick and show you this. These were the 4 locomotives of the Bodie and Benton Railroad. And the actual railroad right here tells you what it was going to be called, the Bodie Railway and Lumber Company. And funny thing is, these locomotives, some of the cars were built in Carson City, which leads me to believe that the Virginia and Truckee built these cars for the Bodie Railway and Lumber Company. So, and then they were shipped on the Carson and Colorado at Mound House. They were shipped over to Mound House, I'm sure, by the Virginia and Truckee Railroad, and then transferred on to the Carson and Colorado at Mound House, which is just outside of, well, probably halfway between Carson City and Virginia City. And from there, the Carson and Colorado would take these locomotives and cars to Hawthorne, where they were offloaded, disassembled, shipped by mule team, to MONO Mills or Bodie, and reassembled and put on the tracks, and away they went. So it sounds to me like the Virginia and Truckee had a hand in the Bodie Railway and Lumber Company as well. So lots of history. I just find this to be very interesting. Here's a picture of what's left along the right-of-way. If you took that road, this is what you would see. It's amazing that there's still remnants of the railroad out there, and that's just something I would love to do. It'd just be really neat to take that road, pack a lunch and take that road and just stop here and there and see what I can find. There wouldn't be any signals or anything, but maybe spikes, ties, whatever. Date nails, maybe. But at any rate, this is the MONO Mills site location. And there's lots here, lots to discover. Walk around. I actually walked down in this area here some years ago, and boy, I was just enthralled at what I saw. The skids that they used to slide the finished lumber down, and it was just kind of neat to know I was standing where the railroad was and whatnot. Okay, well, back for more. Thanks for watching.